What was your reaction late on a Saturday night when you heard the Cowboys had signed a veteran backup quarterback?
My initial reaction, Bill, was I dialed 911 because I about had a heart attack. It's kind of against everything the Cowboys have been doing lately, and they kind of made an organizational decision, not that they released it in a statement, that they weren't going to pay a backup quarterback big dollars. And they haven't done that. They've got guys on the cheap, veteran players, or they've had young players, as we know, Cooper Rush for the last couple of years, who didn't cost a lot of money. But I thought it was a great pickup. I've always been an Andy Dalton fan. I think Cincinnati obviously is a tough place to win. Joe Burrow is going to find that out here shortly, but I love the pickup.
Andy Dalton gets released and then 2 days later signs with the Cowboys. That where I was surprised, I thought there might be a market out there for him to compete for a starting quarterback job somewhere. But it says a lot for him, I think, that he decided to go ahead and sign with and basically sort of give a hometown discount of sorts to the team right here in his hometown.
Well, and people, I read hometown discount, but I think this was a place he wanted to be. I don't know that he necessarily said, gosh, I'll come play for you for cheaper than fill in the blank team. And when you look at the quarterback landscape, Bill, San Diego got their quarterback in the draft. Miami got their quarterback in the draft. Green Bay, they have got their quarterback in the draft. We'll see what happens there. So they're just, kind of game of musical chairs. And when the music ended, there wasn't a chair for Andy Dalton to sit in. So this is about as good a spot as any that he could have landed. Now, he knows he's not going to come in and compete for the starting job with Dak Prescott, but he certainly gives the Cowboys a real viable alternative if Dak Prescott goes down.
What do you like best about Andy Dalton's game in this role as a backup to Dak?
Probably number one, he's got a lot of starts under his belt, so he's a veteran guy. Obviously, in that backup position, you do not get a lot of reps. That's what has always scared me about having that young guy like Cooper Rush, who has virtually no NFL experience. Andy Dalton is going to be fully capable of that. Again, he's been a starter. He's been under pressure. I can't say enough about what a great hire that was. And what's funny to me, Bill, is obviously everybody was, as players exited here, the Robert Quinns and people like that, Travis Frederick retired, and you just said, wow, this team's getting worse by the day. All of a sudden, they have the draft that they had, which was universally applauded. And then a week later, they come back and get maybe the best backup quarterback in the NFL right now in Andy Dalton. So it's been a good 10 days for the Cowboys.
What does this say about the Cowboys going into this season with the coaching change in the offseason as well? When you look at the fact that the last 3 years, they had a young, unproven backup quarterback in Cooper Rush, and now you got a veteran. Does this say that they feel like they have what it takes to contend this year? What does it say about the relationship maybe Jerry Jones has with Mike McCarthy, his new head coach, that McCarthy obviously was on board with this, probably pushed for it, and Jerry says, yeah, do it.
Yeah, I think McCarthy had a big part in this. It's interesting because everybody gave McCarthy a lot of credit for the draft and how it was so different. Quite honestly, if Jason Garrett was still the head coach and CeeDee Lamb was available at 17, they were going to take CeeDee Lamb. So I think that was a little overblown, McCarthy's influence on the draft. However, I don't think it's overblown to say that McCarthy had had an investment in what happened with Andy Dalton. And I say that because this has not been the Cowboys' modus of operation. It just hasn't been. When you look at things too, Dak has not been injured. Obviously, he started every game of his NFL career through 4 years, including playoffs. But as the great Jackson Brown said, don't think it won't happen just because it hasn't happened yet. And when it's happened to Mike McCarthy, he had 2 starting quarterbacks, basically, Bill, in Green Bay. They're both Hall of Famers. He had Brett Favre for 2 years. Favre started all those games those 2 years. And then he had Aaron Rodgers. So there were 18 starts where Mike McCarthy did not have Brett Favre or Aaron Rodgers. He won 36% of those games in those 18 starts. In the starts with Favre and Aaron Rodgers, he won 64%. So Mike McCarthy has said, hey, I've been down this road. We needed a guy to take over, and they weren't up to the task. So I think, again, I got a feeling Mike McCarthy had as big a part in the signing of Andy Dalton as anyone.